Anyway, guest today is Jack Pantazis, folks, very talented guitarist and composer. And we're going to talk about his music and play a couple of his tracks. And Jack, how are you?
Good. Oh, I'm very well, thanks, Peter. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
No worries. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Now,
Great.
Before we start talking about your musical life, let's play a track. And I'll ask, this is off your new album, right?
It is.
Now, I'm going to ask you which one you want me to play, What Again or Because of Her?
Let's go What Again for something dynamic.
What Again?
Yeah,
okay, dynamic. That sounds exciting. Here we go. What Again? That's a great track by Jack Pantazis. On your latest album, Jack.
It certainly is.
What's the album called?
It's called Because of Her.
Okay, and how can people buy that if they want it?
Well,
if they
a couple
love
of ways.
jazz? Yep.
Firstly, you can go via my website, which is just jackpantazis.com, or go straight to Bandcamp and do it. And if you do it either way, you can download it digitally. You can digitally get it and with an album sent to you as well, like the hard copy.
So you've got all that under control, all the latest digital stuff that I don't know anything about.
I don't know if I got it all under control. I just push buttons and hope for the best.
I don't even know what that is, but that's good.
Yeah.
And I'm still writing all the time, the same issue, and you don't get a better enjoyment, do you, really? No. Now, that's a fairly sophisticated harmonic skeleton there. Tell us, where did you started playing piano? What age?
Oh, so we started having lessons with Dad.
You and your brother at the same time,
sir. And Jerry's 4 years younger, and we started with Dad. We had 1 year of lessons on piano, and God bless Dad, he's not a great teacher, so he not very patient, so we didn't last too long on piano, but it was a good start at least. And then I sort of ventured into guitar land, and Dad found a great teacher.
Who was that?
So the teacher was Luciano Dalla Riva.
Okay.
So he was, I was so fortunate to fall into his hands, because that's the only teacher I had for guitar. Yeah. And he was self-taught as a guitarist, but he was a child prodigy, classical pianist.
Jazz, classical?
Well, jazz. He got it. Well, he was classically trained pianist, but he went to jazz guitar.
What's his name?
Luciano Dalla Riva.
I know the name.
So, yeah.
Where was he working from?
Well, he was in Bandura.
Okay.
And, so everything was close by.
So this is 70s we're talking about?
Yeah, this is 70s. So I started when I was 11 with Lou, and 6 or 7 years straight with Lou. And look, not the boy listens, but he became a mentor.
Yeah.
He directed me. He introduced me to jazz. He also opened... Look, it's an amazing story. He introduced me to Herb Ellis and Barney Kessel, literally.
Literally, you mean?
Yeah, literally. He was mates with them. So, and when I was young, I was fed all these records. To get my ears into that. And he would talk about these guys like they were mates. And, when you're 11 or 12 or 13, you don't really catch on. And then one year he said to my dad, look, Herb's coming out with this group, and I want you to drop him off at the Beaconsfield Parade pub. Right, and it was, what a group though, Pete. It was called the Triple Treat. It was Herb Ellis with Ray Brown and Monty Alexander. Yeah. So I met Herb when I was 14. Lou met me up at the door. He took me upstairs, and I met Herb warming up, and I sat opposite him, and that was my first
Monty Alexander was a pianist.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine that's the trio without Oscar Peterson.
Yeah.
So Lou gave me that. And a lot more. And Barney Kessel was another amazing person I met later in life. And he came out here to Australia on his own, had pickup bands to play.
Wow.
So we went to the gig, and he'd come and sat at a table at the intermission, because they knew each other. And then we went out for pizza down Lachlan Street. Yeah. And it was just one of those surreal things where we were able to chat and talk. And you can imagine, this is a guy who's played, like Herb, with everyone.
Yeah.
Lester Young, Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah. It just goes on and on. Yeah. And it was just, that was the sort of person I had to direct me.
Great grounding.
Yeah. And so it was a wonderful opportunity to get my thoughts and understanding of the...
Were you studying theory at the same time?
With him? Yeah. Reading from day one. And getting a really great dose of Lou's direction of theory, understanding harmony and everything
What was
else.
that, the traditional Bach... the chorales?
No, not really. It was fairly, I won't say ad hoc, but it was like, learn your keys, learn your diatonic harmonies, learn your arpeggios, and we learned a lot of standards, and improvising on those, and then trying to reharmonise. I mean, Lou was amazing with reharmonisation and just chordal melody as a guitar player, because he came from the piano background. So I had that.
One of the standards, did you ever do giant steps?
Not with Lou. I did it later
did
myself.
You?
Yeah.
And worked out how to write a line over it and all that stuff.
Very
interesting.
And so Lou got me writing a lot of things through changes so I can get my head around linear and connecting things. But I got a great grounding where at the end of like 6-7 years, I was working and playing a lot, but continuing to practice and work. And, you discover...
Who were you playing with at this stage? Were you 20 by this stage?
Man, I was playing retained reception bands.
Yeah.
And getting my feet wet there. But I started with Dad in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Because Dad was a muso, and Lou would say to Dad, take him, he's ready to play. And I was 14. So on my school holiday nights, I'd go with Dad and play a couple of nights in the restaurant alongside with Dad. And I tell you what, Pete, at the beginning, it was like, Dad would say, let's play some stuff So I'd play a couple of standards. And then he'd say, right, turn your guitar down. We're playing a tune. It's in E flat. It's got 3 chords. Off you go.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. And it was like, man, baptism by fire.
Oh, yeah. I was 14. I worked with a guy called Dave Edwards. We did the Dandenong RSL. And he didn't pay me, but he bought me 1001. And he just used to call the tunes. And you just sight read them and go right through them. That's your grounding when you're getting out there. Very similar to yourself, I imagine. Yeah. What about the... he sounds like a fantastic teacher. Did you end up going through the uni or the con or the College of the Arts?
No. At the end of high school, Dad sat me down, or near the end of high school. This is a true story, folks. And he sat down and said, so what do you want to do? I said, I want to go to VCA.
Yeah.
So he helped. Look, another little side on. Dad encouraged both my brothers to learn music and love it, but never to make a career out of it. Right? Yeah. Never. And so I auditioned at VCA, and like so many other guitar players, I didn't get in, and I didn't let that knock me about. I just went down other circles, and I didn't actually go formally through any of those things. And here I am 32 years later, and I'm teaching at, at an institute, which has been great, and I've learned a lot, and I've been blessed with a lot of great students through years and stuff. And it's a wonderful way of getting to an outcome that I can't say to someone, look, do this and do this and do that. And it's, what it's like. It's
the beauty of teaching too, and I enjoy teaching, is that you learn so much from your students too, and they're always sort of experimenting. Wow, that's interesting. That's good.
Absolutely, Peter.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing, did you get into inverted commas serious classical, or did you always lean towards the jazz style?
I did. Because there was one program that hit SBS 30 years ago, longer, and it was called The Guitar in Spain, and it was run by Julian Bream. It was narrated by the great Julian Bream, and it was 10 episodes long, and every episode for me opened the doorway. Like, I'll go back another step. Dad had a lot of music at home. Yeah. It wasn't one style. It was always
everything.
You had
the Rodrigo guitar concerto.
Yeah, later. Yeah, but we heard classical music, Latin music, Greek music, French music. It was everything at home, right? So anyway, this program came up, and because I was already in guitar, I wanted to learn those pieces that I heard. Yeah. And because that program started with the beginnings of classical guitar, which wasn't classical guitar, it was vihuela, or like a lute type of instrument in the 1400s. I went straight to there, which was good. So the writing and the reading wasn't so heavy like Granados or Bach, but it was an entry point. And that got me going into classical, which I still do today. Yeah. And I love sitting at home, just hacking away some great pieces that I've heard and doing the best I can with them and analysing them. Yeah. If you sit through... And again, folks, I'm not a great classical guitar player, but if you sit there and hear the Bach Chaconne, which is a violin piece, and it has been transcribed and for guitar, the progression's jazz. I mean, anything by Bach's got jazz in it. Yeah. Right? Great harmony. So,
simple jazz, simpler than
beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been getting into Barrios, Augustin Barrios, the Paraguayan guitar player who was sort of equal to Segovia in the 20s and the 30s. So getting back to your question, classical plays a fairly significant role in my life the last 20 years. I would play it at certain opportunities, but not to go out and do like a concert or anything. But I do it if I'm doing, any sort of functions or doing carols, for example. There's something, or doing a musical where they ask for some classical guitar. Yeah. I'm glad I've had the opportunity to, delve into it, and I love it. It's great music. Yeah. It's great music.
Do you notate or use computer? What program?
I still like pen to paper.
Yeah, same here.
And then I put it into Sibelius. So it's just easier to read because, like, if you ever see my writing, it's like hieroglyphics, you know.
Yeah, you get your own style, don't you?
Absolutely. So, you know, the Sibelius is, you know, and I'm very not a novice, but I get through with it and I get stuff for people to read.
Yeah, I used to. You loved it. I'm going to get it again because I haven't used it for 20 years, but I guess it'd be fairly similar.
Yeah.
You just got to watch the YouTube tutorials, don't you? Then you're back into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all out there.
There's an interesting film I should tell you about.
What's that?
It's called, and I just saw it by a fluke, as a fluke yesterday, and it's called Chevalier. And it's about a composer who was a contemporary of Bach.
I've heard about this, yes.
You got to go and see it.
I've heard about this,
yeah.
Yep.
And they play his music and they follow his life, and you're never recognised, and they're just starting to dig up some of his music now.
Lovely. Chevalier.
You got to see
Done.
it. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it later.
Wonderful.
Okay, tell us some of your favourite guitar players, even in the last 20 years, some of your favourite guitar players.
Okay, so in like Julian Bream's one of them, if you go to the classical side.
Yeah.
Even our local amazing Gregorian brothers, Slava and Lenny, they're amazing. And then you got the Jeff Atchisons, you know, the blues guys. Yeah. You got Brett Garsett, you know, from, you know, I'll cross over genres, not a problem, you know. And then we've got such a great host of wonderful jazz guitarists on this, you know, continent.
I mean, some of the Americans.
The American guys say, look,
great.
I mentioned Herb and Barney Kessel, the Joe Passers, the Tal Farlows, the Wes Montgomerys. I do a show of Wes's tunes once or 3 times a year.
Is it true? Is it simple as that? His main feature is he played in octaves. Is that right?
It's not simple, though.
It wouldn't be simple.
It's not.
No.
Well, look, it's. Well, no, it's a technique like it's like if you listen to what he did with it, you know, you think it's amazing. Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
The last Wes Montgomery gig I did at the Paris Cat, because I do a lot of gigs there, and they're a terrific club.
Yeah.
I have a 9-piece group, and we play through.
Fantastic. What are they called?
It's just under my name, and it's a Wes Montgomery show, you know.
Okay, great.
And I play tunes and talk about Wes. And anyway, I got to the bar, and there was a gentleman there, and he came up, and he thanked me for the music and how much he enjoyed. And he said, you know, my wife who's sitting over there, we came from Brisbane. I said, what? He said, yeah, to come down and see the show. Now, one was like, that's amazing, thank you. And then he came with the second thing. He said, my wife who's over there, she's from Indianapolis. She's American, and she went to school with one of Wes's grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And so I went and spoke to Jasmine, I think her name was, and we had a chat.
Yeah.
And Wes is from Indianapolis, and the family's still in Indianapolis because he had 7 kids. Yeah. And this was, you know, the grandchild.
Is he still alive?
No, Wes died in 67, folks. I think he died at 43, you know, heart attack, you know. But, yeah, so Wes... Robin Ford, Mike Stern, John Schofield, Pat Metheny. Yeah. All these guys.
He's got a complicated harmonic sense, Pat Metheny, don't you think?
What's
he done? How does he do that?
Well, you know, that's a great question, isn't it? I mean, if you read about Pat Metheny's life and his development, and he came from, I think, again, I could be wrong, Missouri, that west. There was a lot of jazz there, you know, and he came through exactly what we all went through. He actually met Wes at a gig. He was only 13. So he went through all that sort of listening. But, of course, what I understand about Pat and his writing, he writes stuff that he likes to hear in his own head and what he likes to explore in an improvisational aspect.
Such extended chords.
Beautiful, you know, like that that first trio album, Bright Size Life, is still an amazing record, which he came to the public eye, and that had Jaco Pastorius and I can't remember anything. Bob
was
Moses.
Jaco in that band?
Yeah, the trio. That album has that. But all those tunes in the 70s were they became standards later on. You know, you can't miss playing or going through a Pat Metheny tune just as a development thing. You know,
now we're going to play a few little messages, but we're going to come back with one of your tracks. But tell us where people can buy your albums again.
So the album, the one place you can get it through is through Bandcamp. That's a site that supports a lot of music and musicians. You can do that, or you can go via my website, just jackpantazis.com, and there's links there, and there's a lot more about the album that way as you can read about.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Jack Pantazis, Because of Her. Yeah, what a beautiful song that is. Beautiful tune, Jack.
Thank you, Pete.
Really, really lovely. Now, tell us where some of your gigs have been and where they're going to be.
Sure. Okay, so the next one for this group, and that's the same group you heard on the recording, will be at the Paris Cat Jazz Club on the 7th of September.
Okay.
Tickets are available via their website, and it's a 7:30 start.
How many in that band?
It's quartet. Just quartet. Okay. So what you get on the record is in that band. So in that band, there's Jerry playing drums, Tony Hicks is playing saxes, and we have the wonderful Ben Robinson on double bass. Yep. So that's on the 7th of September.
Yeah.
And I think I've been just telling people it could be the last one for the year because we're all so busy doing a lot of different things, and it's a shame. So if you can come down, it'd be great to listen. I'll play most of the album, but a few other things that we like playing and I like playing. It's almost an indulgent thing because I, like everyone else, we play so many other people's music and we love it, but it's not, you don't get the opportunity to play what you like. And this is one of those opportunities.
Yeah.
So I'll play some Matheny tunes, I'll play some standards of, some tracks off my earlier album that I've arranged, and so forth. So that's the next one. I'm actually there this Sunday.
Now, where's this?
This is the Paris Cat. Now, can I say, and I'm not the only muso who's going to say this, but that club has been an amazing asset to our scene. And Serge and Liz, who own that, have been running it since, I think, 2005. It's vibrant. There's so much music going on. You will not get a dud gig if you just walked in there to find out. And just sit in there. I mean, I do things. I do a Billy Joel gig in there with certain guys. I do a Natalie Cole. This Sunday, there's I'm really looking forward to this. There's a guitar player from America. his name's Richard Smith.
Yeah.
He's actually a professor from one of the universities in Los Angeles. Yeah. And he comes out to Australia, and we've got a gig with him. So it's 2 guitars with Darren Farrugia and Craig Newman.
Yeah.
Great rhythm section. And we're playing his set, some of his originals, and some standards.
Has he sent you out the music beforehand?
Yeah. We got all that. We got the rehearsal on Saturday and the gigs on Sunday.
Complex?
Some of it is.
Yeah.
And but that's, there's so many other gigs that, and of course, because this is the last one for this year, this quartet gig, before you know it, and should I say it, folks, it's 4 months before Christmas, And
incredible. This year,
I know.
August.
And I don't know. I know from my end of town, there's already booked for 4 or 5 different carol gigs in December already, or 6.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm going to play that because of her. I'll play that each week and give you a bit of a hello.
Oh, great! Thank you.
Plug, because that's beautiful, that piece.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Now, any more gigs you want to mention, and mention where we can buy your CDs
Again,
once more?
As
well.
Okay, 2 places, folks. 2 places. I'd love you to go to my website so you can see a few things, and that's just jackpantazis.com. And there's a whole page dedicated to the album because of her, and you can look at photos and so forth. That'd be great. The other place you can go to is Bandcamp, and you can buy it from there. You can download it and so forth. So they're the 2 places.
Fantastic, Jack, and thanks for coming in. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. It's great to see you.
Man.
We'll play some more stuff for yours next week.
Cheers, mate.
I'll see you soon, Jack.
See
Thanks
you,
for coming
Pete.
in.
Thank you.